All right, you guys ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
For this one? Ready for this one, boys? Let's go. I'm hyped. All right, 3, 2, 1. Welcome everybody back to the Built Different podcast. This is High and Inside episode 24. This is our Kobe episode. So I'm here with Alex. I'm here with Wolfie. Of course, I'm your host, Tom. And we're here, baby. It's so close to the playoffs. So many things are winding down as it's getting colder out. I know I'm ready for the playoffs. You know, I'm in the finals of fantasy baseball with Alex over
Let's
here.
go.
So
You're going down,
go,
man.
boys.
Going down.
Either I'll be victorious or Alex will be fired.
Oh, fuck.
We're gonna find out. But
Shit,
no,
my
man,
job's on the line.
this season. You know, I really hope we get a thrilling playoffs. You know, this season definitely deserves it. Can't really put it into one sentence, but you know, seeing the collapse in New York, the rise of the Orioles, the AL West, the Braves, the Dodgers with Mookie Betts and Freeman, you know, Shohei, all the drama that we've gotten this year, so much, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. Feed me more, like Ryback said. Feed me more. Wolfie, what's up with you?
Yo, I agree with you, man. There's a lot of exciting baseball going on, and I want to say one thing too. What's really exciting about baseball is not just the players, but the teams. One team I just wanted a quick talk about is the Marlins. Dude, they were not expected to do anything this year, and they're about to make the playoffs. They're a game and a half out. The Reds are in the wild card. The Cubs are doing well. The Orioles made it. Like, dude, you're seeing so many new and exciting teams up and on the rise. Some with rookies, some not. Playing good baseball all year. Like, that is exciting to me. Like, I'm upset the Mets aren't in it. But, like, to see, like, a team like the Marlins doing well, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, the parity in the league outside of the Braves. I mean, it's just great. It's great seeing new teams in the hunt, and it's super exciting. So,
And I think it's I think it's something that, you know, even though the Braves are hands down like the best team with the best talent, it's the Atlanta Braves. I mean, I think like their potential to choke is, you know, it's like 70% every single year. So what's up with you, Alex?
They just look different. So they just
dude,
built different.
Hey, if they don't make it though, like, or if they don't make it to the World Series though, like, yo, that to me is a collapse.
That would be.
But
bad.
is it because
I mean,
they'll
just,
still? It's crazy because they'll still have these guys together for another at least 5 years, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
everybody
very
signed the
least.
long-term deals. It's crazy.
You better get used to it, Wolfie.
Oh, dude, I know, but hey, let's just say this: if they don't make the World Series now, I feel a little bit better about next year.
That's fair.
That's fair.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. But what's up with you, Alex? How
Yeah,
you doing,
so
man?
one thing I just wanted to point out to start is Mr. Kyle Schwarber. So, I mean, this dude's he hit his 45th home run last night. Like, he's absolutely just tearing the cover off of baseball. He's got 99 RBIs. He's 1 RBI away from 100. He's got like an 824 OPS on the season, 120 walks. But his WAR is only like a .5. So this is an instance where I feel like WAR is not really a good thing to look at, because you're telling me like nobody would want this guy on their team just based off of the WAR. Like, I don't think so. I don't think anybody really would want to keep him away from their team, hitting 45 homers. So I just think that's kind of crazy, kind of a contradictory stat in this scenario. So
I completely
Yeah.
agree with that.
Go ahead, Wolfie.
No, I was gonna say I completely agree with that. And what's even crazier too is that, first off, he's got to have the lowest batting average with the highest total of home runs in
dude.
history. And
he's
second
at
off,
197.
yeah, like, dude, there's got to be no one that even hit below 200 with that. If I had to guess.
I don't know if Gallo
second
did
off-
it, but I have no idea.
Yeah,
But
he
I
was
don't think he had
the
that
yo.
many.
Yeah, he was the one I was thinking of too. Plus, if he was a free agent next year, what would you give him? Like, money wise, what is that worth? Like, what do you
I mean,
base it
that's
on?
good. That's great production. I mean, he's hitting
At
under
least 20
200,
mil?
but he's still getting on base a shit ton. He's getting on
I mean,
base like
so-
345 on base percentage. So.
If we follow WAR,
Yeah.
Travis Jankowski has a better WAR than Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah,
So
I saw that.
You're telling me right now that Travis Jankowski is worth more than Kyle Schwarber, and I don't. You know, I love it. I like WAR. You know, but if you're gonna sit here and have an argument with me about, you know, wins and losses, ERA, you know, batting average, you know, come at all the old stats, I think we can come at the new stats because there's no GM in the league that would have taken Travis Jankowski over fucking Kyle Schwarber. I think at one point for the Nationals, Michael Chavis had a fucking higher WAR than Kyle Schwarber most of the season.
Well, and
so you're telling me you'd rather have Michael Chavis?
Obviously.
That's crazy.
I mean, I feel like defense brings it down a lot, but I mean, even then, who cares about defense when you're hitting 45 homers, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, the obvious thing is that if Kyle Schwarber had defense to his game, we're talking about maybe one of the greatest players in our, like, fucking century. But, like, you know, I mean, I can't fault him. You know, he's in the leadoff spot. He's hit, 45 homers, almost 100 RBIs. You're telling me there's no value in that, all the walks that he has? It's out of the number one slot.
Yeah,
Kyle Schwarber. Big boy Kyle Schwarber out of the number one spot.
And he's got some sneaky speed too. Don't sleep on the speed.
Right. So that's my whole thing. You're really telling me that guy isn't valuable? I mean, yeah, I get it. He strikes out a lot. He doesn't do much else besides walk or homer. But like, I will take that out of my number one guy. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
You know, with how much,
like you said, 30 GMs would take him too. I guarantee.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it's and you saw it in the playoffs last year. It's so much when that number one guy can just start your game off with a home run.
Oh yeah.
Or the first 9 hitters get retired, and that leadoff guy gets you a home run and gets you right back into the ball game. I mean, it's in my opinion, it's valuable. Like, I'm not saying it's more valuable than Mookie and Acuna, who are also on the top of their lineups, but I would argue that it's right up there. I mean, the only thing he can't do is run and field. He can literally do everything else.
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't understand how he is the leadoff hitter though. Like some nights, like he should just be straight up
3 or
like
4.
Listen, if he didn't get hurt,
he'd have 120 RBIs. I guarantee. Yeah, I guarantee it.
When he was a Washington National, we were the first ones to try the experiment. Wait, he never let off for the Cubs, right?
I think he did a little bit, but it wasn't like a common thing.
Right, so the Nationals made it a common thing to put Kyle Schwarber number one in the lineup.
I remember that.
Which was crazy. And that was the last time we were first in the NL East. we were in first for one day because Kyle Schwarber hit like 15 home runs in a month or some shit.
Oh, my God.
And we went on a tear, and then he hurt his groin, and we got bad. It got real bad after he hurt his groin. So Kyle Schwarber almost continued the Nationals, winning ways. What could have been? Could have still had Trey Turner.
3 teams too. The Mets are next.
Oh yeah,
he's got
Here
such
comes
a
big Kyle
Schwarber.
Schwarber.
He does.
Thinking about how where he's bounced around to, especially after being on World Series teams and hitting home runs. He has.
Remember when he was a catcher too? Remember when he played catcher?
Yeah.
God, dude. That feels like forever.
I feel like that it was a torn ACL that kept him out for like a year, right?
Yeah, it happened in the first series of the season in 2016.
Yeah, if that doesn't happen, we might be looking at a whole different career because I feel like the Cubs did plan on using him at catcher from time to time, right? When he first came up.
Yeah, and they did
utilizing him for everything.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Because he's got a hose. I mean, he's got a killer arm.
Oh yeah.
It's just his fielding. And they also have Wilson coming up, so.
And look at the way he looks. I mean, it's so nice to see a guy succeed.
It's like stereotypical catcher.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Phillies. They're gonna get in there, with Kyle Schwarber leading off. They got Trey Turner who's hitting the hell out the ball. Bryce Harper who's starting to get his power stroke back.
Real Muto. I mean, Bryson Stott and Alec Boehm have been having solid seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. They're pitching. I mean, it's always the pitching with the Phillies.
Oh, yeah.
But it's different with them because they actually have World Series experience now, which is pretty wicked. I think now they know how to get through some really tough situations.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's that Wolf. It's the brotherly love, man. It's the,
it's so true. Fuck Philly, man.
It's the power of brotherly love, brother.
To my defense, and Chris has the notes, I actually thought Trey Turner was going to win the MVP this year, or at least make I think I said he was in the top 3 or something like that.
No, you said that he'd win the MVP. Yeah.
But you're right. Just breaking down the team in general, they were so good. I'm actually shocked they weren't better in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
They came off to such a slow start. They actually had decent pitching, and they could have sprinkled on more if they needed to at the deadline. But looking at that the team as a whole, like they definitely were going to go back to the playoffs at least.
Yeah. Not having Harper really hurt in the beginning of the year, though.
And I thought it was going to hurt them more.
The Hoskins,
but then
too,
Bryce Harper came back way earlier. I thought not having him in the beginning of the year was going to hurt.
Yeah.
Because you had Trey struggling.
Because when did Harper come back?
Now gone.
Did Harper come back in like June or something? Or was it earlier?
It was something ridiculous.
Yeah. Something crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, there was talk he wasn't even going to come back. I remember, like, because we did our fantasy draft in my one league, and, like, he went so low because people weren't even sure, like, what the hell was going on with him.
Man.
Yeah. And then I rejected the trade. I think it was Alek Manoah and Kyle Wright for Bryce Harper. And I rejected it.
Not. Remember when
I wish I did it now, but
looking back on it, that would have won you the league.
But I mean, no, I want to go that far. But yeah,
so fuck Philly though.
Oh yeah, basically. And with Kyle Schwarber, the one last thing I wanted to add is I feel like that dude got to end up a Yankee at one point, just once.
Oh. Imagine
1 year in Yankee Stadium. Oh yeah,
it's shocking he hasn't done yet.
He might break the record. Oh my God, Kyle Schwarber to break the record? Yeah. He's full healthy year at Yankee Stadium. I think he does it.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
he just got his contract though, didn't he? Like just in general talk.
I don't think he got like a big contract. Though.
I don't know.
No, I think it was only like 4 years, 80 mil ish.
Yeah, 4 years. So 4 years, 79 mil.
Okay,
He's
all right, so
through
looking at his spray chart, he probably gets about. Yeah, I mean, looking at his spray chart, he probably gets an added. I'm not gonna lie, it looks like 10 to 15 home runs added at Yankee Stadium. Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you.
That put him at like 60. That put him at 60 this year.
Yeah,
that'd be insane.
Yeah, man, a full healthy year. Kyle Schwarber up top, and then you go right to Aaron Judge at number 2.
No, it's not like you can pitch around him.
I don't know.
You know why they haven't yet? And it just, I still to this day, like, I'm not a Yankee fan, but like, Cashman, what the fuck, Hal, what the fuck? Get rid of Stanton. You gotta get rid of Stanton. I know, like, dude, think about it, because he's clogging up every fucking thing. They can't get anybody for DH or a potential DH. Where would they play Schwarber? Because I know like he could play. That's what I'm saying. He could play you can't put him out in the field, bro. He would have to be your left-handed DH, which they need more lefties in that lineup. And they can't do it because Stanton's fucking always there. Get rid of him.
I mean, listen. You know, in defense of Stanton, though, it's like if he was, if the Yankees, we've seen it like when the Yankees were good and he's healthy, like that, him at DH is a pretty fucking killer. I mean, this year alone, I know he's hitting 193, but he also has 24 homers and 58 RBIs. I mean, I don't, but
how many games does he play? Because he's been out too, right? He's
played 95 games somehow.
Yeah, he's been on and off injured the past couple of years. I mean,
he'll hit about 100 then this year.
He hasn't played 140 plus games since 2018.
Wow.
And he's just been, injuries.
I just hope, and if he could just get healthy, he could get to 600. Man, he's only 33. With universal DH, if he was to get like in some killer shape, that'd give him like 6-7 more years of his career.
Holy shit!
I think he can stretch out another 200 more home runs over like 6-7 years.
Yeah, and he's there through 27 or 28.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is what I was saying. I think I said it to you, Sax, the other day. Is that with the 4 more years, like he has to get out of there because if he goes to another team, he won't have as much pressure. He'll have a chance to flourish.
Miami.
I think he should go to the West. I think Miami was a joke, but I also think like even a West Coast team. I think I mentioned the Dodgers get rid of I think they only had Martinez on a 1-year deal. Like, trade for him next year and plug him into the lineup. I think he'd be great on that team.
Stanton on the Giants. I can see it.
No, the Dodgers.
Ooh.
The Dodgers.
The Giants.
I was just mentioning like Stanton on the Giants seems like it would be a Giants thing to do. So,
but then he'd have to run a little bit more. I don't think he's interested in that.
Yeah,
but
not if they DH him. I mean,
no, but I mean like if he hits it into that gap. I mean, it's,
Oh yeah, that's true.
he's running.
Stanton triples leader.
A lot of singles and like doubles. That's it.
No, but so the Orioles. I wanted to have a better conversation about the Orioles. So it's funny, me and Wolfie, a week back, we released that episode a few days ago, where we kind of shit on the Orioles a little bit. But man, I don't know if you guys watched that series, but the series they just had against Tampa and Baltimore was a really good freaking series. One of those games, Grayson Rodriguez absolutely shuts down Tampa. The Orioles' bats were alive. Gunnar Henderson seems like he can't be stopped at some points, which, I mean, just watching that guy play, I really feel like Gunnar Henderson he really probably will end up on like a tier with like Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, like the Acuñas.
That's high
I think in like a couple more years, I think he's going to be hitting like 40 home runs, 120 RBIs, 300. Like I really think he's going to be nasty. He's really going to develop, man.
He's been such a beast for them. I mean, they haven't cooled off at all. They've just been on fire.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude, if he could cut down on his strikeouts a little bit, he's a little bit high there at 146. 27 home runs, 79 RBIs. He's got an OPS at 831, which is the 26th best in baseball. And only in like his rookie year, I think they had him a little bit at the end of last year, right? It was like a month.
Yeah,
I think a couple games, yeah.
Yeah,
enough to be like WTF, he's a rookie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But he's so good. I agree with you. I think he'll actually have a shot to be in like the top 10 of MVP voting at some point in his league, at least. Yeah. Definitely. Especially with the AL being a little bit weaker. We mentioned that before. He's so good. Like that whole team
defense is killer too.
Yeah, it's really
his
good.
Defense is stellar.
Their whole rookie system, we've brought it up. Mm-hmm. They have so many guys that they brought up. It's like 5 or 6 guys on their team, their main team, not even including their pitching staff.
Right, and the
system.
Your cornerstones are literally Grayson Rodriguez, Gunnar Henderson, Adley, like those
shit too.
Yeah,
Cedric and Santander, yo.
Cedric Mullins, yeah.
But those first 3 as like your cornerstone for like the next 10 years. Wow,
that's awesome. Yeah.
That's pretty electric. And yeah, I mean, the fans showed up. They were in the series pretty heavily. The Orioles, man, I mean, it's just I really can't see them go into the World Series because their pitching isn't where I would like it to be. But if Grayson Rodriguez comes up and pitches like the way he's starting to, it's
I feel like getting Means back will be really big for them, though. Because he's been out, all year? He's only had 2 starts since he's been back.
Yeah.
So I feel like that'll be huge down the stretch for them.
Absolutely.
They're one of those teams that could just use like a handful of like starters. Granted, I think Grayson Means has shown it at times too. Like they have like ace like potential. But I really wish they just had like one lead guy, like a Garrett Cole style guy where it's just like he's gonna go out there and dominate.
Bro, they have Jack
even
Flaherty
looking at next year. Yeah, even looking at next year, Jack Flaherty. I don't see anybody in the offseason that necessarily might take that role. Like, I guess Snell's a good pitcher this year. I don't know if I could see him being necessarily their ace because he works. He throws a lot of pitches. Like, he'll get like 5 or 6 innings. He's not the guy to go like 8 or 9. Granted, most guys don't anymore. But yeah, if they had like an ace, that team would be smoking.
Sandy Alcantara.
Woo! Oh man.
Yeah.
That'd be filthy.
Dirty.
Yeah,
but
like a Luis Castillo style guy.
Yeah.
It's tough because they're like they have no pressure. Like the Baltimore Orioles, like if they were to get bounced in the NL or in the ALDS this year, I don't think anyone would sit here and just shit on the Orioles. We'd probably be like, they're young.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think their pressure starts this offseason, so you just never know. I mean, you've seen these teams in the past with no pressure just fucking go all the way, like the Royals, for example.
Yeah.
Like that's right. Nothing to lose, everything to gain. I think they'll have pressure next year for sure.
Oh yeah.
I think they'll have the whole AL East gunning for them, the whole AL gunning for them. But you guys have any final takes, about the Orioles? It's gonna be good, man. It's gonna be good.
It's like we said. we said it the other day too. It's that I thought the same thing with their pitching and their rookie status. It's like, I don't know if they're gonna get that far in the postseason. But at the same time, they're the second best team in baseball right now, record wise. They literally just took it to town against Houston, which in my opinion would be actually their biggest face off in the playoffs. I feel like the Rays always sputter. Mariners, I don't know if they're full yet with their lineup. But dude, it's like if they can beat the Houston Astros, like why couldn't they get to the World Series? Like who would stop them?
I mean, like you said, they whooped up on Houston. They split with Tampa. I mean, they're still gunning for it. And I mean, I really don't see a team outside of Houston that can compete with them in the postseason. Granted, they don't really have the experience, but at some point, I mean, that really might not matter.
I still feel like if Seattle gets in there hot,
I
feel like they're up there as one of the best teams in the AL. But they have to get in.
That's if they get in, yeah.
But it's like the Mariners are one of those teams that like when they're hot, they're one of the best teams in literally the entire league. But when they're cold, they're literally one of the worst teams in the entire league. You don't really get an in between with them. Happened last year. Seems like it's happening again this year. But the difference between last year and this year, I think, is that their starting pitching is better.
Oh yeah.
They don't have Robbie Ray out there falling apart. every game now. But I still think Logan Gilbert, George Kirby. I mean, even Brian Wu. I like Brian Wu. He's a cool cat. Guys like that. They have another year under their belt after last year, and I think if they get in, they'll pose some threats.
They could be dangerous if they get in. I don't know how possible it is. It'll really come down to those series with the Rangers. I mean, their schedule's it's pretty rough the next couple weeks up until the end of the season. So.
Yeah. And we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to the Mariners.
Yeah.
But with the Rays, so I want to talk about the Rays a little bit. So new stadium. They finally signed a deal to get a new stadium. Thank God. I know you guys probably heard me talk about it a lot. I love to shit on the Rays because they've been probably one of the best teams in the AL. I mean, no World Series to show for it, but one of the best teams since like 2008.
Yeah.
That was when they were in the World Series, right? 2008.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, ever since then, when all the young guys came up, the James Shields, Matt Garza, David Price, Carl Crawford, BJ Upton, Longoria. Like ever since that happened, they've been pretty much up there. I mean, they've had a couple down years, but they deserve it. Like the fans there deserve it. I know they weren't showing up to the crazy ass dome before, but I think it just needs to be in a better spot, better location, make it beautiful. I love it. I just hope they keep the dome, they keep it different. Don't make it look like these other ballparks, because the one thing that I love about the Rays is that they're just different. Like they have their own identity. I mean, they build their teams differently. They have different color scheme. They have different kind of jerseys. They have a different stadium. You never hear a Rays fan going crazy. So I feel like the Rays, this is long overdue, and I'm glad they're not relocating because the Tampa Bay Rays have been a staple in our sport for past, we're approaching 15 years at this point.
I agree, yeah. I mean, really, I don't really have any knocks about them getting a new stadium. From the renderings, it looks amazing. And the non-baseball activities, like in the concourse and all that they're going to have, should help bring in more attendance and revenue. Really, if I had to have a concern, it would be that they're not moving out of St. Petersburg, but I don't think it'll really matter if they upgrade the stadium heavily, which it looks like.
Put it in a better spot.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
That was actually my main issue, is that the fact that I read some comments from Tampa Bay Rays fans that they were a little bit upset they didn't move out of St. Petersburg. But I do think it's one of those things where if they do actually get a nice stadium, even if it doesn't boost it as much as they think they do, it'll definitely be better than what the old one was. Like, no doubt in my mind. No doubt.
Absolutely. Yeah, that stadium, it was kind of a dump. I mean,
dude, it's like, it was like announcers and stuff would shit on it.
It was unique, but it was, yeah.
How do you think Rays fans feel about Wander Franco, man?
Oof.
Like, I don't want to dig too deep into that garbage, but like, wow, man, like the Rays they've been going through it.
And they've stuck in. They've been.
They lost so many of their pitchers again. They're getting through it because they just have nothing but talent. Like, God,
Some
just
of them,
imagine
their
if they just had
development-
money.
Their development system is incredible. I mean, the fact that all these guys go down and they don't even miss a beat, like, it's crazy.
Yeah, like
Dude,
you thought, like Shane McClanahan going down would be like devastating.
Yeah, and they lost
but they're
Springs
still
like
here.
really early on. Like,
Dude, they
3
lost
years.
Wander Franco, man.
Yeah.
Dude, there's no way that organization is giving out a contract that size again, like that early. They're like,
And
you
it's
know,
crazy.
we're done. That was it. That was we fucked up.
They were like, see,
Yeah,
this is why we
exactly.
don't spend money.
This is why we don't do it. I know, dude. I swear to God, that's what they. Dude, never again. It's never. At least, especially not unless they're in free agency. Like they're like never again.
When that report hit for Wander Franco, they probably were just like,
Like, God damn it.
now we really
you
don't
go.
gotta spend money.
Their fucking owner just texted the GM like, "Told you."
Told you not to spend
Oh,
money,
man.
asshole.
Yep.
Now look, you robbed us of millions.
God
But,
damn
We're
it.
operating like the A's again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Rays are gonna go on a run, but they're fucking good, man. Imagine if they've spent money. Just imagine the team
yeah.
that they really could have had. It could have been like Dodgers, Astros, Braves level of mastery. I mean, I think they're up. I think it's only fair to include them up there, but they just didn't. They didn't spend the money like the other teams did
Yeah.
to get them.
I mean, hell, they could have
Up there,
traded
up
for.
there.
Imagine if they like traded for Snell this year.
Yeah, that's actually a
mean-
good point.
Snell would not go back to Tampa.
Dude, I don't
Yeah,
know,
I
man.
mean,
That's
that's a
actually
fair point,
great.
but
I
still,
like
I
that.
Oh, I like it
That'd
too,
be-
but
that'd be
like I don't know,
crazy.
he still holds that grudge when they took him out in the World
Yeah.
Series when he was pitching.
Yeah,
that
dude.
gem.
Talk about a
Oh,
huge
yeah.
mistake. God.
Oh, big mistake. That cost them the whole thing. Pretty sure.
I tell you one thing
your
too. with
Cy
the
Young in
Rays.
that.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Which actually, I kind of forgot that. Yeah, there's no way he's going back there after you brought
Yeah.
that up. But the one thing I was gonna say
about.
with the Orioles too, I was gonna bring this up, and it's the same thing with the Rays. Any other year, or even this year, look at the AL or excuse me, the NL. It's like, oh, dude, you know, pretty much the Braves are the threat. I feel like in the AL we don't
The
have
Braves
that
and
as
the
much.
Dodgers.
And yeah,
I think
Yeah.
like it's yeah.
Like the AL is not as like set in stone to where I feel like any of these teams really do have like this chance to do it. 'Cause
Yeah.
they've been decent all year, well, the best of their league all year. It's like how could like I feel like I can't make the argument that like anybody can't win.
yeah.
Right, and it's
I
like with the
agree.
Rays, you gotta think like the Rays have so much experience at this
Mhm.
point, and you wouldn't think so. Like, I mean, even like they've failed and succeeded so much in the past, 5 years alone, like since COVID, that they have the experience to do some. I mean, they have Kevin Cash, who, in some people's eyes, he is the best manager in the league. I would like to argue that because what he's been able to do, with these teams that he's had, absolutely amazing. But I don't know. I just think when you lose Wander Franco, you lose Shane McClanahan, you lose some of the guys that they have. Yeah, they still got a lot of talent, but is it going to win them a postseason series? Is it going to get them to the ALCS?
They really got to bank on that postseason experience. I mean,
Bank on Randy Arozarena going off
on
again?
Randy. Randy's a dog.
He is.
I mean, they have like one of the top 10 batters in all of baseball in OPS with Yandy Diaz. He's eighth right now.
he's good.
I didn't realize he was
Jose
that good.
Jose Siri is fucking. Doesn't he have 30 home runs?
I'm not too sure.
there's
but I
When the
know
hell
he
did that? When the
Didn't
hell
he
did
just
that
get
guy
hurt,
develop
though?
a power swing?
Didn't he just get hurt though? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So
25.
Oh, he has
homers,
25.
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, I actually didn't
Jesus.
realize it was that high.
Right.
And then
What?
Isaac Paredes, he's literally like the 21st best in OPS at 841. He's got 29 home runs and 89 RBIs. Like, they have
That's
good
crazy.
players on their team. You mentioned Randy already. Their pitching staff we know is good. Their bullpen's just like, they could be basically starters and relievers. They're good.
They could just put anybody in that bullpen. I think it's gonna work.
Yeah, it's the same thing how I feel like the Orioles, Houston, and Mariners. I feel like anybody can do it. Like, they all have...
Yeah.
if anything, the Rays are in the better of that pack.
I don't know. I think Houston's probably in the best spot right now. Just I mean, they've been dominant for so long, and they got all their guys healthy.
Well, I think so. Circling back to this AL conversation, I think you guys are making great points. I think every team has a weakness, and every team is strong as shit.
Yeah.
So the Rays, I think their injuries made them weaker because I feel like if they had Wander Franco still playing, if they had Shane McClanahan still starting, I mean looking at their Shane Baz, Jeffrey Springs, they have a lot of people there that are injured. I feel like if they were healthy, they wouldn't really have as many holes, but because of that, they have holes. The Orioles pitching, the Twins' existence. The Astros, I mean, it's kind of like with Javier struggling as much as he has this year, you kind of only have a 1 and 2 of Verlander and Valdez.
Yeah.
The Rangers, their pitching is unhealthy, and then the Mariners' hitting is not, where it needs to be. It's gonna be a fucking good one, though, man. I know that.
It's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be a fun October.
It's one of those ones where I really wouldn't know who to put my money on. Probably the Astros.
That's the best. That's the best time to bet, though. I mean,
and it's just like on the NL side, it's just I don't know. I feel weird going for the Braves. Like I just don't know if they're gonna pull it out. I feel like we have an incoming choke job.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely feel the choke coming. I actually think there's.
Sorry.
There's I feel I'm getting a little choky-ish. I think. Actually, do I have it up right now? Yes. I'll be honest, as much as I hate to say it too, because I'm not a big Dodgers fan, I actually think them and the Phillies could have a good shot of taking down the Braves. If the Braves aren't clicking, and I said it to you, I think a couple weeks ago, if they get that like big head, but they're like, oh, we basically already got the division in like August or like July, pretty much. Let's be honest. We already had the division. We're already in the postseason. We're doing it again like last year. We just got to fix what we did. And then like a team like the Red Hot Phillies comes in, which we already saw beat the Braves this week. I don't know, man. Like I feel like it could definitely like be a big upset for the Braves this year once again because they've done it before in the past. Even the 2000s decade, they didn't win much.
Yeah, I mean in the 90s too, even.
Yeah.
With those teams that they had,
I mentioned it to Wolf. I said, their curse now is trying to get that second World Series, because they did this in the '90s where they had all this talent, but they only won one.
Yeah,
I think the benefit of the doubt to them is that they won their one this time with Acuna being hurt, so that now they'll get him at his best. But when it comes to the Dodgers, I believed in the Dodgers. Their lineup is insane. I think Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman could beat anybody. But just looking at their rotation, knowing that it's knowing that it's Kershaw as the ace, how he is in the playoffs. Your second best pitcher right now, as it looks, is like Bobby Miller or Lance Lynn. You got Gavin Stone, you got this Pepiot guy, but you're literally without Walker Buehler, Gonsolin, Dustin May. Like with those guys, if those guys were healthy, the Dodgers would be my number one team right now, but I can't.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing holding me back from the Dodgers too. Is just the pitching, if they're going to hold up. Because I mean, recently they've looked okay, but just historically, I mean, I don't know if I trust Lance Lynn to be your number 2 in the playoffs. I just don't. I mean,
yeah, dude. They're 15th right now in all of baseball in ERA, so that should just give you like an example of and that's just including their bullpen as well.
And
they're just not doing it for me.
No, I mean they got maybe the best 1-2 in baseball, but after that, it's just hard for me to put them anywhere near the Braves in terms of depth or talent. So,
and it sucks because you're sitting here and you're gonna say like what I want to say is that they're gonna need to depend on Clayton Kershaw to really hold down this rotation, but every time that they've depended on Clayton Kershaw in the playoffs, it seems like he's burned them pretty fucking badly.
Man.
So it's tough. It's tough. It's not something that you really look forward to. Like their hitting is really going to have to be monumental.
Oh, yeah.
But you put them up against the Braves, for example. The Braves with their pitching can easily shut down the Dodgers in the playoffs, and that's what sucks. They're going to run into Fried and they're going to run into Spencer Strider. You face the Phillies, you're gonna run into Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola. The Brewers, they run into the Brewers. It could be I don't know, Brewers could finally get their fucking they get bullied by the Dodgers a lot, but I feel like they can finally get their licks back this year if they run into the Dodgers, and that's just me being honest.
The funny thing is, the Braves and the Dodgers are only their runs allowed in the season is only 3 different. The Braves have allowed 353, or 653. Dodgers have allowed 656.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I actually was just looking. They're the ones that are above the Dodgers in team ERA too. They're at 14 and Dodgers at 15, which actually brings up an interesting point about the Brewers. When it comes to NL teams going into when it comes to them in the NL of teams going to the playoffs, they are by far ahead of everybody else. They have a 3.79, and they're in 4th. The next one is 10th, but the Phillies at a 4+ ERA compared to theirs. Yeah, so it's like monumentally different compared to like the rest of the NL teams.
And the offense for the Brewers scares me though. I mean, if Yelich stays hurt like he has been, like I don't know if anybody can really put the team on his back.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you'll get a Rowdy Tellez homer.
In
the first couple games.
We all know Josh Donaldson's going off in the playoffs.
Right, man, that's why they got him. They got Josh Donaldson to be the fucking hero.
Oh, man.
No, but, it sucks, man, when it comes to the Brewers because they have the pitching. It's going to be such a shame once they let these guys go, like an opportunity that they wasted. Because, I know you got Yelich back, and that's what you were dependent on. You gave Yelich all the money. You were depending on him being good. He's finally good. Win the division, everything, but then he's hurt, and then what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and it's not like back injuries just heal, like, with time. I mean,
I feel like he's had a back injury for the last 3 years. Man.
Exactly. Absolutely. It's kind of like Kershaw. Like, I mean, his back's been...
And those are the things that make me feel like I think it's the Braves and the Phillies, and I feel like I don't see another team getting by them. And if they meet in the NLCS, god damn, we're gonna be in for a treat.
That'll be a rematch of last year. That'll be a blast.
Oh hell yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty positive that's what's gonna happen.
The Cubs are nothing to really, look away from. I get it, Alex. I get it.
I'm not a believer. I mean, as much as I want to be a believer, I can't say that I am. They've been struggling with teams they need to beat. Like they lost a series against Colorado. Arizona pretty much took like 5 of 6 games, I think, or 5 of 7 games from them, games that the Cubs needed. But it's been a rough stretch for them. I don't know. I don't believe in the pitching at all. Outside of Steele, who's a Cy Young candidate, like Jameson Taillon, you expect him to start in the playoff game. Like if Stroman comes back, yeah, but I mean, who knows what he'll be? Will we get the first couple months?
I thought he was activated.
He's been activated, but they said they're not sure when he's going to start a game. So
Jordan Wicks has been decent, hasn't he?
Wicks has been decent since being called up. That'll be nice, but I mean, he's super young. Who knows if he'll?
Is Kyle Hendricks? I thought he was a dog again.
He's very on and off. I mean, if his command's not there, then the dude tops out at like 88. He gets pummeled.
But the Cubs, what they have though is that the Cubs have an offense. They have a really good fucking offense, in my opinion. And then when it comes to their pitching, like, listen, I think Justin Steele is pretty, game 1, Justin Steele is going to lock the other team down. I think the Cubs can win every game 1 that they get into. And then, you get a decent performance from Stroman or Hendricks or Taillon. Yeah. One of those, Jordan Wicks, that I think they can at least get out the NLDS if they get there.
You know what's crazy?
I think for sure it's a disaster. If whoever's facing the Cubs in the wild card, I think it's going to be a disaster for them.
It could be. I mean, going up against, You know what's crazy? The Cubs have scored the 3rd most runs in the NL outside of Atlanta and the Dodgers. So,
dude, and Cody Bellinger's still
really
doing his thing, man. We're in fucking September, and Cody Bellinger.
Bellinger, baby. Bellinger to the moon.
Bellinger, the savior of the Cubs. Who would have fucking thought? Man?
Not me, but I'm happy.
Bellinger,
I mean,
Dansby Swanson come in and just save the Cubs.
I love that the Cubs signed him in the offseason. Obviously, it was a prove-it contract, and he proved it. I mean,
and that's why like more teams need to do shit like that. Where I get spending money can be hurtful for some teams, but in this scenario, the Cubs, they signed Cody Bellinger, give him a chance. They signed Dansby Swanson as their cornerstone for the next few years. It was good moves that paid off.
And they got Candelario at the trade deadline. which is it's been a good move. It's just like I said a little bit ago. I think you disconnected, but they've been ice cold lately, and if they fall out of, I think they're out of a playoff spot. They're tied with the Reds for the third spot, and I think the Reds own the tiebreaker. I could be wrong about that, but they could just as easily lose it. They face Atlanta and Milwaukee next week.
Ooh,
Leave it to Milwaukee. Imagine getting knocked out by Milwaukee in the last series of the year.
Oh, dude.
That would like absolutely rip my heart out. But
So as we sit here right now, God, this. All right, so we might as well talk about it. So as we sit here right now, the Phillies are comfortably 4 games in, which I think they're probably.
They're a lock. I think they're a lock. Yeah.
Yeah, they're thanking their lucky stars, but the Diamondbacks are a half game in.
Yep.
Okay.
I can't believe
the Cubs and Reds are tied. The Marlins are a half game out, and the Giants are 2 games out. And not for nothing, I don't think they have enough time.
San Diego.
But the Padres are 5.5 games out. So
they've been turning it on.
What are the Mets?
It's just too little, too late.
the Mets are 8 games out. Which Wolfie, I mean, we'll talk about it another time, but like I really feel like the Mets shouldn't have given up. In my honest opinion, I really don't think the Mets should have given up because I think at the time you guys sold everything, you were like 3 games under 500, I believe.
We might have been like 3 to 5, something in that range.
So 3 to 5, right? So if you guys would have just, made some decent trades, retooled instead of rebuilt, the team right now that like I said, they're all about only 6 games over 500. I feel like the Mets could have accomplished that, but I don't want to make you sad or anything.
No, you know what it is? What really screwed us over is that, if anything, like you said, maybe trade Scherzer, retool with another piece. Diaz being out obviously hurt, but David Robertson was doing really good for you. But we didn't bring up Mauricio all year for whatever fucking reason, and like that really hurt the team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and he's been exciting too since he's come up.
Yeah,
but
dude,
he's been
out of
real
all the
good.
rookies, he's been like one of the best ones. Him and Alvarez, and it took so long for them to come up. So,
So we're gonna talk about the Padres in a second, and then we'll probably have a lot more Mets stuff to say. Sorry, Wolf. But yeah, who do we got making the wild card? This is gonna be crazy.
for the NL.
Yeah, I think I'm going Phillies, Cubs, and Marlins.
Yeah, I actually was about to say that too before in the talk. I really don't see Cincinnati hanging on. I'm actually kind of shocked they've hung on this long.
I'm happy for them though. Very happy for them.
I'm
Very nice.
extremely happy for them. The one
And I know
surprising
Alex
team-
isn't gonna say that.
No.
Hey, I mean, they've been fun to watch. Even as a Cubs fan, like that team is a lot of fun to watch. They got some real exciting young players. I mean, the amount of rookies that they had called up this year and just performed is crazy. I mean, you got Abbott, Ellie, not Matt Cain. I forgot. But not Matt Cain. Spencer Steer. They've just been fun to watch.
They have the easiest schedule out of everybody, I think, man.
Matt McClain, that's who I'm thinking of.
So they're getting like cooked by the Twins right now, but they got the Pirates, the Guardians, and the Cardinals to end the year.
Ooh.
Whereas like the Cubs are facing good teams, the Diamondbacks are facing good teams.
I mean, Arizona's got the White Sox and the Yankees, so. But they got the Astros.
But they also got the Astros
to
to close the whole thing. I know they're shitting themselves.
Oh, definitely.
That's
I
a
don't
tough
know.
last year.
The Marlins, they got the Mets, the Brewers, the Mets, and the Pirates.
Ooh.
If they can survive that Brewers series, wow.
Who was that? The Marlins?
The Marlins, yeah.
Marlins? They could
I like
just
the
as
Marlins,
easily
man.
make it, I think. I mean, yeah,
I
think the Marlins
their pitching is still fucking great.
Yeah.
Arraez still hitting 350, still hitting the hell out the ball. Last year his issue was that towards the end of the year for the Twins, he did horrible. I know he was at like 350 at one point last year, and he went all the way down to like 310. He's still hitting. He's actually gotten a power swing over the last couple weeks. I don't know if you guys noticed, like Arraez.
No, I didn't.
He's hitting home. He's got like 10 home runs now.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
So I like him. Jorge Soler is becoming like a superstar out there in Miami. For whatever it's worth.
Sandy's been back to not back to what he was last year, but he's been back to all August and September. He's been real good at ERA in the mid threes. He's been back to being good.
I don't know if it was against your team, Alex, but remember the last time they got into the playoffs, which was 2020.
Yeah,
when they had this similar
they
format.
Swept the Cubs, yeah.
They won a series.
Yeah.
So
I know.
They could do some damage.
Dude, I didn't realize Berger has 33 home runs. Soler, like you said, has...
Holy shit, Jake Berger.
Yeah, dude, like, I was actually just looking at their stats before my opening take, and, like, dude, their, like, team has a lot of pop to it, man.
Yeah.
Like, they have...
Getting Josh Bell at the deadline, too, that could be big.
And getting Josh Bell at the deadline and him actually being good. Like
exactly, yeah.
It's night and day between, him on the Marlins now and him on the Guardians.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Jazz Chisholm Jr.
Dude, 2 grand slams in 2 days.
Back-to-back days. Chisholm Jr. hits the grand slams. They swept the Braves.
Yeah.
They swept the this Marlins team is like I don't know, man. I'm not saying they're gonna go all the way or anything. I know I say that a lot for a lot of teams, but they actually have a team that can last against any of these teams in a 5-game series, I think. Especially since they've shown that they can sweep the Braves. I know it's only regular season, but god damn.
They're one of those teams. They're one of those teams that has enough like talent on their team to actually do well. Like, for example, we brought it up like way long ago in the beginning of the season where we said it was kind of similar to the Yankees thing with the Diamondbacks, where it's like they have Corbin, but what else do they really like? They have Christian Walker's decent, Perdomo's decent, but you don't have that many good names or guys with playoff experience. You look at the Mariners, I keep saying the Mariners, the Marlins, and they have Chisholm, Arise is great,
Gurriel.
Soler is doing great, and he's great in the playoffs. Gurriel, Berger's having a great season. Josh Bell has playoff experience and
Soler,
is done great.
don't forget that. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Soler.
Remember what
they
he
have
did
some
for
guys.
Atlanta.
Yeah, dude. Even last year, Josh Bell tore up the Mets in the wild card. Like, they have guys that can have experience, and I don't know.
Bryce
man.
Harper just hit a 3-run bomb. Thought I'd throw that out there, but yeah.
Yeah, Braves are still running away with it. I mean,
they're not in a pushover. I'll say that.
No, yeah, I feel like Miami could just as easily take a playoff spot. They're right there.
I think they will. I think they're getting hot at the right time again.
Agreed. Easy
end of the year. I think I got a guarantee that the Marlins are going to be in there, and I think it's going to be interesting. I really want to see the Cubs pull through. They got the talent to do so. But these Reds, they're pesky. They're in every game. It feels like, they got Hunter Green, who's come back off the IL and is actually pitching his ass off.
Andrew Abbott's had a great rookie year pitching for them.
Exactly. It's shit that they needed, and it's nice to see because normally they get good teams and then they fucking fade away before this point of the season.
Well, I feel like a good comparison would be, I'm not saying they're as good as the Orioles, but just with the amount of young talent that they got called up and being like a year or two away, it just kind of feels like it's kind of the same situation. It's just they're just not as good. But
I think you can compare it because if they don't make the playoffs this year and they come close, it was just like the Orioles last year.
Everyone's like, oh yeah, it's just.
And then I can see them winning the Central next year. It'll be up for grabs again.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. So I actually had the Reds in the Reds and the Marlins in the last 2 playoff spots. So
wow.
As much as I want the Cubs to make it, it's tough. It's just I look at the rest of the schedule and I don't really like what I see. And they've been on a real cold streak. They're like 2-8 in the last 10 games against teams that they should be beating too. Like they've been playing real bad against Arizona. They got lost 2 or 3 from Colorado. Like you got to beat the teams that you should beat, especially when you're trying to vie for a playoff spot. It's tough for them. They're getting cold at the wrong time, I'll tell you that.
Crazy schedule to end.
Yeah, I kind of I'm writing off the Giants. Nothing against them. It's just
I don't want to write them off.
I just don't think they're good enough.
The number one rule is that you never write off the Giants.
Yeah, but they like the Guardians.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like they're facing the D-backs, the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Dodgers. And I think the Padres at this point, they're just trying to beat the shit out of everyone while they still can.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to get. I think they're just trying to get to 500 and call it a fucking day.
Trying to leave. I can't see him letting up on. I can't see him letting up on the Giants either. I mean, trying to keep your rival out of the playoffs, of course.
Yeah, I'm I'm gonna go with the Marlins. You know what? I think I gotta give the Diamondbacks some love here. Just because I know, Wolfie, you said that they're a little deflating, but I think they're on a win streak right now. They've won their last 3 games. Their pitching has done pretty decently. Not as of late, but their hitting is pretty good. They have 2 top of the line rotation aces that I think will do what they got to do when the time comes. And they have an easier schedule going down the road. So I'm going with the Marlins and the Diamondbacks. I want to see the Cubs in it too.
I debated putting the Diamondbacks
I
in
really
there
feel
at
like
the
if
third
they
spot.
get in, they can make some noise.
Oh, I do too. Yeah.
I'll give Diamondbacks credit though, because they literally were leading in the beginning of the year, and then they came back.
Acuna just hit his 39th, by the way.
Who did?
Acuna just hit another homer. That's 2 tonight. He's at 39 and 100 RBIs.
God damn.
That's crazy. I'm sorry, Wolfie, I didn't mean to interrupt. But
No, you're good, dude. I definitely do not see the Giants making it. I don't even know how the Giants are in this conversation. Thinking
Tyro
about the
Estrada,
talent they
baby.
have in that.
Yes,
Apparently.
baby.
They- You can make the argument they're one of the strangest teams. Go get his jersey right now on stream.
Let's go.
I just don't understand how the hell they're even in the mix, man.
they're scrappy. I mean, I'll give them that. They're scrappy.
They're the Giants. They're the San Francisco Giants. They exist. They'll always exist. They'll knock on the door always. They're like, ding dong ditch, motherfuckers.
It's all Gabe Kapler.
Right?
It's gotta be, man.
But moving on, just because I want to cover it, the AL wild card. So it's a little bit more simpler, not as messy. But we got the Astros first, since they're still technically only a game above the Mariners and the Rangers, which is crazy. So if the Astros were to have a random cold streak, they would honestly fall out of the playoffs, which is
That'd be
nuts.
crazy.
So
Imagine.
it's the Astros, the Blue Jays, the Mariners, and the Rangers. One team has to miss out.
Wait, repeat the names again.
The
Astros, the Blue Jays, the Rangers, and the Mariners.
I think the Mariners miss it. I know their pitching's great, but I think I trust the Texas Rangers a little bit more. I think the Astros are gonna keep the division. I just think they're too strong, and they have a little tough schedule down the stretch, but I think they're gonna just keep doing what they're doing, and I think I just trust Texas a little bit more than the Rangers, or than the Texas more than the Mariners.
That Astros Diamondbacks series, the last series of the year, that could be a crazy.
That could be fun.
Who would have thought that the Astros and Diamondback series would ever be that entertaining?
Have playoff implications, yeah.
Serious playoff implications.
For real,
both
yeah.
teams.
Well, Houston's still got to play Seattle too before that, so
Knock Seattle out, and then the Yankees play 6 times against Toronto in the next week, and then they're going to
Holy
win
cow.
all
Oh, yeah,
6,
Toronto.
and then the Yankees are going to make it to the playoffs. They have. All right, I'm half joking, but just hear me out. I sent it the other day. Granted, they didn't sweep the Pirates, but they took 2 out of 3. They should have won that game. But they actually have the second or the first best record in the last 21 games. How is that possible? And I just
they're 6 games out.
And there's just a part of me that thinks that dude, if they play 6 against Toronto and they're exactly 6 down, there is a part of me that does think they could fucking pull it off. And
I would be
that'd be
goddamn.
insane.
I mean, you'd have to have the Rangers and the Mariners literally beat the shit out of each other because they play 7 more times.
yeah.
But
if the Mariners lose to Houston,
I guess there's a little tiny possibility there. You're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, I don't think
Yankees
they're
right
gonna do it, but I swear it would be the most Yankee thing, and their fans would just you'd never hear the end of it, and then Cashman would be like, "See, we did make it to the playoffs, and we knew what we were doing the whole time," and I just
Giancarlo Stanton hits 10 home runs in the last week.
Bro, when I heard that they had the best record in the last 20 games, I was like, "Fuck, this is happening, isn't it?"
Such a Yankees thing.
No. They're just with them and the
Too-
Padres. I think they're just trying to make their year look better in the history books than it was.
Yeah, it's just too little, too late for them.
I think the Mariners are gonna make it, man. I think the Rangers are gonna be the team that misses out. The reason why I say that is I think the Rangers, they're going on a losing streak again. They did go on that hot streak that kept them alive, but they're starting to lose games again. I think they're coming into this Rangers series unhealthy. I think it's going to be very fantastic baseball, don't get me wrong. But I got Houston, Toronto, and Seattle. I don't think I can envision this playoffs without Papa Julio in Seattle, man.
Yeah, I think their pitching staff is too good to not make it to the playoffs. By the way, just a quick note: the Yankees are losing 4-1 against Toronto, so there goes that take. But
Rangers are losing to the Red Sox too. So.
Yeah, I actually think that's how it is. They're tied. Okay. I think the pitching staff of the Marlins. Fuck, now I'm mixing both of them up. The Mariners' pitching staff is so good, I think they could actually just pull it off. I think that the Rangers put themselves in way too much of a hole and tailspin the last month that it's probably in their head now, and they just can't, come back from it. Scherzer clearly going down was a big train wreck to them, too.
Yeah.
So, they don't have DeGrom anymore. Yeah. I think some of their, weaknesses are starting to be exposed. As good as their hitting is, everybody usually goes up at once and down at once. That's how most of baseball is. And I feel like they're going down right now. Dude, they would have to come out and win, the last, let's say if there's 10 games, they would have to win, 8 out of 10 for me to be oh, yeah, they're legitimate again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, legitimate.
I mean,
I was going to say, to make the playoffs, they don't. I think they have to win, 6 or 7, but...
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about even if they got to the playoffs, they would.
Those series are going to be fun and desperate, though.
They just get swept by they got swept by the Guardians and the Astros since the beginning of September. That's tough. But they did sweep the Blue Jays in 4 games, so it's I said, it's been very up and down. It's and then they're down to the Red Sox for the second game in a row right now. I still believe in the Rangers offense to try and carry them to the postseason. I don't know if it'll hold up in the postseason, but I do trust them to at least get there. And I don't know if Seattle will. It'll be fun. I'll just say that it'll be a fun last 2 weeks. So it's really hard to tell. Those head-to-head games are really going to be a blast. So
with both sides of the coin right now, Manfred, he wrote a good script this year because it's going to come down to the wire for both divisions for the wild card or for both leagues.
And I love it, man. Like I said, Manfred is cooking, man. He changed the playoffs. The playoffs are that much more exciting.
Yeah.
Extra team. We thought the extra team was too much. We thought taking away the DH was going to be bad. The pitch clock, the stolen base rule. He's cooking. Let that man cook.
Baseball's got its highest viewership since God knows how
right.
long. He's doing something
cook.
Right, so.
You gotta get yourself a Rob Manfred jersey. That's your next jersey.
Oh, God.
No!
Never gonna happen.
No!
But let that man cook, dude. Let that man cook. But you guys have any last takes about the AL or the NL wild card? I think it's gonna be very shitty, and I love that shit.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of teams fighting for not a lot of spots, so I'm real excited to see how the next 2 weeks play out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's such good baseball right now. Are any of the wild card teams going to get far in it? That's another question, but it's just to see the battle to the end. It's exciting, especially for at least more than half the league. It's more than half the league's competitive.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. The parodies, it's awesome. It's great to see.
So, quick touch. I feel like we're going to talk more about it next episode when our guy Chris is back. Shout out to Chris. I'm wearing the Red Sox hat in his honor. Still sick. Not dying, so I don't even know why I'm wearing this hat in his honor. I keep doing it. I keep making it sound like Chris is dead.
The wake is Friday.
Died of syphilis.
Yeah, syphilis.
Bloom is out. Like I said, we're probably going to talk about it way more heavily. I think it's great. I think the Red Sox, seeing how decently they were this year without a team that we thought was going to make the playoffs to begin with. It's nice. Nice to see them actually finally taking a chance.
They were in contention for a wild card spot up until September? And nobody
probably
had
a
them.
couple weeks ago.
Yeah, everyone had them at the bottom of the division or 4th place or whatever. So at the beginning of the season. So
aren't they still at the bottom?
They might be. Yeah, I don't know.
Crazy AL East, man.
When did well, actually, you guys talk for a second. So I gotta look up something.
Let's see. I'm looking this up real quick.
Okay, 2000.
Yeah, they're at the bottom. That's because the Yankees have been on fire, so they surpassed them. The Red Sox have just been ice cold though. Which you can't really blame them.
Who, the White Sox?
Red Sox.
Oh, let's say fuck those guys.
Yeah, no, they're at the bottom. They're at the bottom. But
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. First off, I'm glad the guy's gone. There have been some moves he's made that are decent, but for the most part, a lot of them are terrible.
Disaster,
and the one that's always
man.
going to haunt him is the Mookie Betts one.
yeah, absolutely.
It's so bad what they got back. It's like actually kind of like crazy that like that's all they got back. And also too, what kind of pisses me off because at the time the excuse was, oh, we don't want to give Mookie a big contract. First off, you have one of the biggest payrolls in baseball, a big baseball town. And then second off, you like a couple years later, you went and gave Trevor Story a giant contract. So clearly you had the money. It's like there was no excuse for it. Like it's honestly like it. That's why I hope to God the Mets don't trade Pete Alonso because I feel like when you have these homegrown stars, like the best thing to do is keep them, especially when they're still in their prime.
Yeah, absolutely, and they make the fans happy too. I mean, everybody loves Mookie Betts. Like it's hard not to like Mookie Betts. Like why do you not want that guy on your team?
Yeah,
He's an MVP. Like
if you had
just
him,
a great dude.
Xander and Devers still together, like. What the fuck? Like, there's your three. Dude, your core is set for
Mookie
like,
Betts
a
and
decade.
Devers alone would have been just pretty crazy to watch. I mean, Mookie Betts was a dog. Honestly, Mookie Betts built different athlete of the week for me, Red Sox. Like, when he played for the Red Sox, that was a beautiful thing to watch.
It was, yeah.
That was like art. That was like watching art, watching him develop into the player that he is today. But, you know, and he only lasted 4 years. But, like, it's crazy that in your 4 years, your, like, top
He's
5
only 4
things
years.
are...
Yeah, 2019.
So, and that's what makes it worse, because in those 4 years, your top 5 headlines of you running the Red Sox are trading Mookie Betts to offload David Price's salary, and you completely died in that trade. You let Xander Bogaerts go. You signed Trevor Story. And then I guess the other two would just be all the random talent that they've signed, that they've tried to revive. Half of it worked, half of it didn't. But those are the things that are going to be represented by Bloom's run.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
a lot of fans were pissed off too when they traded Christian Vasquez too. By the way, because he was a solid catcher for them.
Yeah,
and there was like no reason to do it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now
he's a Minnesota Twin.
Perfect.
Is that where he is still?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But
also, I mean, they won the World Series in 2018, and they brought this guy in thinking they were gonna compete for however long. They made the playoffs one time since then. Other than that, they've been like third in the division every year. It's just been a huge disappointment.
And it shouldn't have been.
It definitely shouldn't have been. Yeah, coming off a World Series and you miss the playoffs the next.
You just needed pitching.
4 years, like
just needed pitching.
I mean, go ahead.
No, I was gonna move on. So if you guys,
So like Wolfie said, he has done some good things. Like the Yoshida signing was pretty good. I feel like that'll work out well for them. But
that was the one I was thinking of.
Actually extending Devers was huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought Justin Turner was a good signing for like the money he had this year to spend.
Which sucks because if they had pitching this year, I would have loved to see this Red Sox, in the postseason. Justin Turner just doing his thing. I told you guys. I said I everyone was like, Justin Turner to the Red Sox, but I was like, watch him go off.
Dude, he was so hot there for a while too.
He'll be on the Pirates next year.
Dude, he's like top 30 in OPS out of all players this year. He's like hitting like he has like an 830 OPS.
Didn't he?
I think it's got.
Didn't he get hit in the face with a fastball? Like, was that spring training that he was?
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
I can't believe
I forgot about that.
Like,
it'll be interesting because I think he's earned himself another contract at the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's almost.
He's getting
40.
up there in age though. Yeah, he's upper 30s.
Ageless
he might
wonder.
be 39.
Them Gingies.
Like Daniel Murphy. No, I'm just kidding.
But don't remind me about Daniel Murphy, please.
So quick, I want to go through our MVPs and Cy Youngs because I do have a little bit of a hot take for you guys. So let's start on the NL side. I think we all agree that Ronald Acuna is the MVP, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
I thought Mookie Betts was giving him a run for his money. Shout out to Mookie Betts. The season that Mookie Betts is having is crazy. Leading off in the Dodgers lineup, I think he's the heart and the soul of the Dodgers right now. You can argue Freddie Freeman, but I got Mookie Betts. What a leader he's developed into, and what an amazing ball player he still is. Fielding, hitting, running, everything.
He literally is like the full package. Yeah.
Pause. But you got to give it to Ronald Acuna, because man, like he's just doing something that we've never seen before, and I feel like that should always be rewarded. He's about to be 40 home runs,
1 homer away from 40.
RBIs.
Yeah.
He could hit 70
He
might
steals.
get 80 stolen bases.
He's only at like 66, I think, right now. So I don't know if 80 is.
I'm tweaking.
But he should be 70.
They have nothing to play for the rest of the year, so maybe he just goes on this tear, just
starts stealing for the fuck of it.
Yeah, every time he gets on.
That'd be hilarious.
I can see it. I could definitely see it, because 80 is a juicy number.
He needs 13 more.
Yeah.
13 more in what? Like 10, 11 games?
Yeah, but that's also, I don't know if he's what he did tonight, because that's not including tonight.
No, I don't think he's gotten any tonight. He's got 2 homers, but I don't think
he definitely put the stamp on the MVP conversation.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, they're wacky
100 RBIs.
Right
he's gonna have 40 homers. Just an unbelievable season.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think Pete Alonso should be the MVP.
Yeah,
that's just me.
Absolutely.
Cody Bellinger, am I right?
It's crazy to think about that. Matt Olson, though, is like right there on his tail too.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's basically him,
and
Mookie,
the fact that
Matt, and Freeman.
Mookie and Freeman,
those guys are so good that like Arias is not even in the conversation.
Yeah,
which is sad because he's hitting 350, hitting the shit out of the ball, man.
I mean, the top 4 contenders come from 2 teams. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Cody's definitely in that top 5 to talk to, because like
without him, the Cubs, the Cubs sell at the deadline if it wasn't for Bellinger.
Dude, a 311 batting average in this day and age is to go along with almost 30 home runs and 100 RBIs. Like that's,
and he's got like 20 plus steals himself too. I think.
Yeah, he's got 20 at least. Yeah.
And Cy Young, I know you got your guy Justin Steele. But I got Blake Snell. I mean, he's been doing his thing to close the year, pitching great. It sucks that he's on the Padres. I really wish he got traded. Because imagine if he went to the Orioles and he got to pitch against the Rays. I feel like that would have been an electric storyline there that we're missing out on. But yeah, I got Blake Snell. I think it's cool.
I don't know if I have Steele, honestly. I mean, as much as I love Steele, like the ERA is really the only thing keeping him. I don't know. I was kind of leaning towards Snell, but then a part of me doesn't want to rule out Strider. But his ERA is his strikeout numbers are just insane. I mean, it's just I don't know, the ERA. You know how these guys look at ERA like it's like the holy grail. So it's tough.
Which is fair.
Yeah, I mean it's totally fair. But the thing is, his WHIP is better than any other like Cy Young candidate, and that's. I mean, I feel like personally that's a more true test to what kind of
his bad games have been some badass games.
Yeah, that's true.
I believe if Strider, if he can give us 2 7-inning no-run performances, he might get it.
Well, he's actually pitching tonight, so he's given up 3 through 7. So yeah. But
what really helps him though is 3 categories that he actually leads in. The ERA, which is like a 0.3 lower than anybody else in the entire league, which is crazy. I mean, you're talking a 2.4 to a 2.7.
You're talking about Snell?
Snell, yeah.
Okay.
Second off, he has the most strikeouts in the league at 217, so that's 2 stats. And then the third stat that he leads on, and he leads this by fucking far too. He's got an opponent average of 187 against him. Like, Justin Steele's is 244. My sleeper pick, by the way, I actually almost would. I don't know if I put him above Justin Steele, but he's right there. Is Kodai Senga. He's got a 205 batting average. But, dude, he's got like a 187 Snell. Like, those three categories, strikeouts, ERA, and batting average alone, I feel like it's just going to make him win.
I think Strider's got him in strikeouts, though, doesn't he? Strider's got like 260.
Absolutely.
Strider's got like, he had 259 going into today, yeah.
Something filthy.
Yeah.
Something nasty.
But
I'm sorry,
yeah,
yes.
Totally,
And yeah, he's the only other one in the NL then that would take him. Yeah, he's got 270.
Other than that, though, I totally agree with you, Wolfie. I mean,
it's
also leading in hits per 9, too. He's only given up like 6 hits per 9 or something like that. Like, that's pretty crazy. But he's also, I think he's leading in walks, which is kind of
yes. That's the one thing he's got.
Yeah.
That's where his high whip comes from. Is
Yeah.
just the walks because he's not giving up base hits because he's only giving up 111 hits,
Yeah,
which is
right.
also like one of the lowest. The one thing that's pretty
Swanson
crazy.
home run.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I read the stat wrong. Sorry, it was. Oh, that's hit batter. I thought it was home run. Okay. never mind.
Dansby.
Dansby?
Yeah, he just had a 2-run home run.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah. But yeah. So moving on real quick to the AL Cy Young. I
actually
think
wanna
it's
talk
Garrett
about this.
Cole's.
I feel like
I
it's
think it's
kind of a
Garrett
lock,
Cole's.
yeah.
Yeah, and would you believe that this is gonna be his first Cy Young?
Seriously? He didn't get any in
Yeah.
Houston?
No.
Wow.
This would be his first.
That's
but I feel like
crazy.
Wolfie has a hot take. So what's up?
I don't have I feel like the league will give it to Cole, but I tell you one thing, man. You could make an argument for Sonny Gray. Like, I know I joked about it the other day in the group chat, but actually looking at his stats right in front of me, like, they are right behind Garrett Cole by, like, slightly. Like I said, Garrett Cole will probably win. He's only got a 281 ERA to a 284. That's Cole to Gray, so .03. He does have him on the innings by, like, 16 or 18. The whip is Cole's got a 1.05, which is crazy, and then
That's insane.
Gray's got a 1.17. But I'll tell you one thing, dude. The one thing that Gray does compared to not just Cole, but the rest of those top like 10 in the league, he only has 7 home runs given up on the year compared to Cole, which has 20.
That's
Like,
insane.
that's huge,
That's
man. I
crazy.
can't even believe it. Just
And
to
the
give you
guy
an
that I'm
example,
about to
it's like
defend?
Snell has 15, Steele has 13, Cole 20, Senga 14. Luis Castillo's given up 26 home runs this year,
26.
and he's given up 7. That's crazy.
7.
And
Also,
that's the
the
guy
one
that I was
thing
about to defend. It was Castillo.
I just want to say the one thing that voters will take into account is the team performance too. I know it probably shouldn't, but I mean the Twins are in a playoff spot. I don't know how much of a factor it'll be, but it does kind of suck because he's only 8-7 with a 2.84 ERA. That's kind of crazy. That's like
That's
DeGrom
why
territory.
I
mean,
like Luis Castillo, man. 13-7, 3.08 ERA, 199 strikeouts. You know, WHIP of 1.042. You know, I like Luis Castillo, man.
1.04.
I mean-
You said?
Yeah,
Holy crap! I didn't realize this whip was that good.
yeah, and
Dang.
that's in comparison to Garrett Cole, who has a 1.04 as well. So that's the thing about Garrett Cole and Luis Castillo is that I think this could flip if, like, let's say Cole has a bad outing or two. I hope he doesn't. Not yet. He's on my fantasy team. But Castillo,
I
I
hope he does.
mean, if Castillo has 2 better starts than Cole, his numbers are better. If we're being honest. So
And Seattle's vying for a playoff spot, so
right.
that could be huge.
Now, for the MVP, I think it's safe to say that it's going to Shohei. But I would like to propose something, fellas. And I might sound like a big idiot. Some people might hate me for it. But, listen, man. Shohei Ohtani should be MVP because, obviously, you know, hitting, pitching, did it really well, was the story of the year, face of the MLB, whatever. But I think this ending with the Angels has been so sad. I think that missing the last month and the Angels completely falling off the face of the earth, it's just a real sad situation that I feel like it should be the Rangers and the Mariners. Whoever makes the playoffs, it should be either Corey Seager or Julio Rodriguez, those should be the guys that win MVP. Because if you look at MVP, it's most valuable player, which I think by default should go to Shohei every year. But if you look at it in this aspect, I think Corey Seager, hitting 340, hasn't played all of the games this year, but I think he is the biggest reason why the Rangers are still doing what they're doing. And then Julio Rodriguez, if he doesn't get hot, the Mariners are nowhere close. And the season that he's randomly putting together, underneath our noses of 30 home runs, 100 RBIs, all them steals, a decent batting average, the Mariners, doing what they got to do. I feel like it should go to one of those two instead of Shohei based on the season's narrative. Kill me in the comments. Do what you got to do. But, I can't support Shohei because of the Angels.
I don't think you're crazy for saying that, honestly. I mean, since August 1st, Shohei's only got 5 homers. He hasn't really – I mean, he's hit 301, but he hasn't played in, almost 3 weeks now. It's hard to see, like, such an amazing, like, unbelievable first half just completely tank in the second half. Like, that's since the trade deadline. He's only got 5 homers.
Yeah, because he was about to have, 60 home runs, potentially.
Yeah. Before the trade deadline, he had, 39 home runs.
It was about to be something just gross.
Yeah, he had 2 months.
He was in running for Cy Young.
It's crazy. Like, the downfall that the season's had on Shohei, it sucks. Like, it's sad, but at the same time, I think it's possible that somebody else could steal the MVP in the next 2 weeks. Like you said, if Seager just powers the Rangers to the playoffs, he's been absolutely on fire. So right. The only thing I fear is if they take the games missed against him. But then again, Shohei will have pretty much just as many games missed by the time the season ends. So
exactly. What do you feel, Wolf?
I feel like the counting stats of Seager could really help in his favor because, I'm looking at it now. Even though he has, 25 less games than Ohtani, he has, 15 more doubles. He's got pretty much almost the same hits. He has half as many strikeouts.
Oh, that OPS is gross.
Yeah, his OPS is crazy. Yeah. Everything's pretty much almost right. His average is 30 points higher than Ohtani. I'm just curious how they're gonna do it with the pitching. Are they gonna say that? Are they just gonna leave pitching aside and straight up just use that as a Cy Young category statistic, or are they gonna include that in the MVP voting? I think that would be the only deterrent towards Corey Seager. I love Ohtani, but there is a part of me that just wants the Angels alone, that whole aspect of him.
Right.
I want him to lose it just because of that. Because I'm sick of the Angels. I'm sick of the way they operate, and I don't want to take it out on Ohtani, but in a way, I feel like I do. I do want to take it out on him because it's bullshit. I feel like and then I hope he gets mad at the Angels and doesn't go back because of it.
I don't think he will. I mean,
It's how miserable, I was actually really miserable when Mike Trout re-signed for so long in Los Angeles. It was very deflating. Whoa, great, he got that huge, record-breaking contract, but it was just really sad to see. If Ohtani's in an Angels jersey next year or he signs a contract for more than 1 year, I will be pretty upset. I'll probably rant. I don't know what they're serving out there in Los Angeles to keep these guys. They have probably the best crack in town. I don't know.
It is LA.
But yeah, if Ohtani resigns with the Angels, I'm losing my goddamn mind.
There's no way he is. And in general, I feel like that team just needs to just completely break down, trade Trout, because they've already talked about that, the trade talk things. I think that's their cop-out excuse. I think they're just going to trade him in general, whether he wants to or not. And that whole team is just run so bad. They never get pitching. Their bullpen's always suspect. I feel bad for Angels fans, to be honest.
Honestly. They've made, the playoffs once in the past 10-plus years? Since Trout, they've only made the playoffs one time. And that's in 12 years.
They didn't win that World Series in 2002.
Yeah.
I don't know where they'd be right now as a franchise, because it's just like the White Sox. If they didn't win in 2005, I don't know where they'd be. Yeah. Because, these two disasters, and we're going to talk about it next episode, or maybe the episode after, because we were supposed to talk about it this one. About some of the biggest disasters of all time. I feel like the White Sox and Angels in our recent times are up there on that list.
Yeah,
even further than the Mets, because at the very least, the Mets, they won 100 games and they were in the playoffs. At the very least they did that. Whereas the Angels, you've had Mike Trout this entire time and he's only seen the playoffs once.
And they didn't even win a game. They didn't even
The
win a
White
playoff
Sox,
game.
they've at least seen the playoffs a couple times, but Mike Trout has seen the playoffs once, and he has one hit in the playoffs.
That's crazy. That is like honestly like your best player in baseball or one of the best, and he's not even in the fucking playoffs.
And it's crazy to me like that happened, and then also like it's more crazier that happened to me than Felix Hernandez, who did not pitch a single game in the postseason.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
Crazy stat.
That's crazy.
Crazy
that
stat.
Is actually. There's a lot of players that are good that just never got to see the daylight.
And it's insane. But you guys have any closing takes? We made it.
I'm excited to see playoff baseball, even though my team's not in it. I'm definitely going to be watching, I'm going to have my MLB app open. I'm going to have, 4 screens up and just watch everything. Because I actually think whoever goes to the wild card is going to happen the last couple days, if not the last day.
Yeah. This stretch is going to be so much fun. I mean, with all the divisional games and games against wild card opponents facing each other, it's just going to be a blast. So,
and I think with all these home run hitters that are going to the playoffs, I think we're going to have some huge moments. I think we're going to have overall a very memorable postseason.
Oh, yeah.
I think the World Series, especially if it's something like, Dodgers, Astros, or Orioles, Braves, or something crazy. I think we're going to be treated to something amazing, and we're going to sit back. We're going to be here every step of the way for you guys. So make sure you guys subscribe, share, sell your souls to us. Shout out to Ghana. Shout out to Belgium. This outro is getting really long. But yeah, make sure you guys follow us on this road. This is our 3rd episode this week. We have, by the time that this comes out, this will be our 4th episode in 7 days. We are working. I'm like a dictator. No, I'm just kidding. I'm really not. Don't sue me. Don't turn me in. But yeah, make sure you guys are following. I hope you guys liked this episode. We loved it. Hell of an episode. Have a good night, day.
It's been a blast, fellas. Yep. Take care.
Peace.